Hi, Tom. How are you today? I'd like you to introduce yourself to me and just kind of share how your business journey started.
Sure. Hi, Robin. Thanks for the opportunity to do this. I'm an independent digital marketing consultant. I have my own little consulting firm. I do digital marketing, which I define as a lot of SEO, fair amount of online advertising, generally Google and LinkedIn, some social media, and some content development. Um, I work primarily with business-to-business companies, either like software companies or professional services, mostly, although I do have a few clients on the consumer side in fitness and mental health, interestingly enough. Yeah, I've been on my own for about 8 years now. Prior to that, I did 14 years in corporate marketing, 10 years with an agency.
Yeah.
And then went out on my own at the beginning of 2017, and that's been a great journey. I work with I get the opportunity to work with fantastic clients, and I'm really driven by their success, helping them with lead generation, improving their brand visibility, credibility, all those sorts of things. So that's kind of what I do in a nutshell.
And, when I think about your type of business, I really think about how you do benefit other companies and how would you say that you're able to measure your outcomes? Because I know, as business owners, when we hire somebody, we really want to know that they're going to actually perform the duties. And with SEO and with digital marketing, that really is kind of an open space. So how do you use software? Do you how do you measure it? How can you tell if it's actually working, and how does your clients know that?
That's a great question, and really important, obviously, because in consulting, 99% of the time, the work that I'm doing is invisible to the client, right? They're not seeing the work. So it's really vital that I'm able to show the results. I do for my larger clients. I do some type of reporting for all clients, but for larger clients, I have a more formal system in place. Obviously, I developed over the years, and it's sort of customizable depending on what the client needs. Are they running Google ads? Are they running LinkedIn ads? That sort of thing. So it's kind of modular. I can insert and pull out things as needed. But that's actually presenting the results is generally one of the for me, kind of the most enjoyable parts of my job. I kind of geek out over getting results for clients and being able to show them and talk to them about it. So I go through all the, a lot of statistics on total website traffic. Where is the web before you come? What's driving people to the website? Is it organic? Is it paid? If it's organic, how is it brand terms versus non-brand terms, the kind of things that you really want to SEO for, and hopefully showing upward, movement in that over time. So that's it's great when I can do that kind of reporting and show those kind of results to clients. It is a little bit of a manual effort. I'm actually working with a consultant right now and using AI to automate some pieces of it so I can do it a little bit faster. But that's the again, a great question. That's the kind of tool that I'm using right now to show those results to clients month after month.
And so when you get these new clients, do you have, Tom, like a specific onboarding process? So say, you get this client and they don't really understand that SEO is search engine optimization. And what is search engine optimization? How do you kind of bring them in the loop so they kind of understand the scope of the work or what the expectation can be at the end, if there's an end? Or how do you onboard your customers if someone's looking for your service?
It starts with really learning about them and sort of where they're at in terms of their knowledge base experience, what they've got going on already, kind of what are some of the things they've done, what's worked, what hasn't worked, that sort of thing. And it varies so much. I had some clients in larger. I work primarily with small to mid-sized companies, but on the larger end of that, some of the clients are pretty sophisticated, and I don't have to do a lot of the explanation. They kind of know that. Other clients don't have that base of knowledge. They know their business, but they don't necessarily know about what are all the things that go into search engine optimization and what exactly does that mean for their business. So I try to explain things again to be wherever the client is coming from, explaining it to them on terms that make sense for them. I'll often talk about SEO versus search engine advertising as sort of planting an apple tree versus going out and buying apples. Okay. SEO is more like planting the tree, right? You plant a tree, you have to put some effort into it before you see results. But once it starts producing fruit, it will keep producing fruit. You just sort of need to maintain it. If you want more apples, you can plant more trees. Again, it takes some time, but over time, those will show results. And those results will keep on going, because once you got great content and great structure and all those things that go into SEO, you'll kind of keep seeing those results over time. Search engine advertising is like going out and buying apples. I can get apples right now. I don't have to wait.
Right.
I can run to the store and get some apples. I got my apples. But when they're out, I have to go buy more apples. So that's very much like the advertising part of it. Is there is an investment that has to be made. The advantage is you can get results right away. You can bid only for the very specific kinds of terms that you want to show up for. You have a lot of control over that. You can control the spending, up or down. So it's more immediate, and it's also, there are terms depending on the client's industry. Again, my clients are usually, as I said, more on the small to mid-size end. In some cases, there will be a very large competitor in the industry, and it's hard to compete in organic search against a really large company, right? Because they've got so much brand presence and they've got so much content and all of those things. Not impossible, but it's difficult. And so there are certain terms that it may just be really difficult to compete with them organically for. With search advertising, you can appear for any term that you want. It's just a matter, again, of spending the money. So those two things kind of work together in that way.
And when you think about, digital marketing, when you hear that, that's prevalent right now. Everybody is digital marketing, just like with your AI. But really, what makes your company, Tom, different or stand out to your potential customer? Like, is there a difference or a niche that you currently have that draws a certain group of entrepreneurs or small business owners to your company?
I think there's a few things. One is responsiveness. So if a client has been working with an agency where maybe they haven't gotten answers, very quickly. I mean, I try to be extremely responsive to clients and get back to them very quickly with answers to questions, with information that they need, with adjusting timeframes, all that sort of thing. I try to be very responsive in that sense. Results, again, to your question about how do I show those results to clients and talking about that reporting. So I am very results driven, and as people get to know me, work with me, they realize that it's not just like a requirement part of the job. It's something I really do enjoy, is getting those results. And they think to show them, talk about them, and talk about the different factors that go into that. And a lot of it is the efforts that are done, by the client. Many of the clients have writers internally that will write some of their content. So I'll obviously give them credit, but also try to give them pointers to make the content work even better. And the third thing, I guess, is just I guess I've been blessed that once people start working with me, they tend to stick around. I tend to keep clients for quite a long time. I had one was actually a client back when I was in the agency world, and then I also worked with them as an independent. So they were a client from 2006 through 2024, so it was 18 years, which is almost unheard of.
Huge.
In the marketing industry. I worked with them until actually the owner grew the business to the point and was at the stage of life where he wanted to sell it. And that's usually how I end up losing clients when I do lose them, is not that they're unhappy, is they're making an exit, right, and they're selling to some large corporation that doesn't want to work with that independent consultants.
I think there's a lot of pride, though, Tom, too, that comes as a business owner when you are really supporting and providing the service to the companies, and they are able to grow with you, scale their businesses. I think that anybody in business who, I always, when I think of a business owner and I think of marketing, and I'll just use the term marketing instead of digital marketing. Sure. You think back 25, 30 years ago, it was just print ads, right? And so, when you got into this thing called algorithms, and we got into, SEO and optimization and all these big words that we were all kind of hit by, like, so how does that work? It really is a huge gamble. It's an investment that you may not get a return if you don't have a business owner like yourself, Tom, that takes pride in actually paying attention to how your content is, is it producing, or do we need, do you assess it? Is there ways for you to kind of gauge maybe they picked the wrong terms for the algorithms? How would, because I think when Google came into play, print ad versus, the US Dex knows, if anybody, if you've been around a long time, that if you weren't in Dex knows, no one knowed about you, if that makes sense. And so I think that, digital marketing people that are in your space have to really have a real grip on what the trends are. How do you make that work for your clients so they do get a big bang for their buck? Because I think, especially coming out of, the way the economy is now, how are you approaching it? Do you consider budgets, or do you just have flat rates that everybody pays based on where they are? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. That's another great question. So I don't work on a retainer basis as agencies often do. They'll say it's X dollars per month and you get these services. That almost always ends up either not being good for the agency in some cases, but more often not being good for the client. So most of my clients work on what I call a work up to basis. So they will say something like, we'll work, 20 hours per month. If we're doing something bad, you need more, let me know. And if I work less than that, I only bill for whatever I work. So there is a lot of control there, and that can vary from month to month. And sometimes it needs to. I have clients that their business is kind of seasonal. So some parts of the year, or sometimes during the year, they need to slow down their spending a bit. And other times they're really in it for growth. And so they're ramping up the spending.
Yeah.
So yes, my marketing career actually goes back to, in the beginning, I was designing print ads. And actually I worked for one of the first, way back, I worked for one of the first manufacturers of high resolution laser printers. If you remember when they first came out, the output was kind of crappy, but this was a really nice printer. So one of our marketing techniques was we did a newsletter. This wasn't email. No. We printed this newsletter on our printers so we could show off the quality list. And we had a snail mail mailing list. Yeah. We mailed this thing out. So that's how far back that goes. And so when I talk about digital marketing, it's something that I've been doing for pretty much as long as the term has existed.
So you understand
yes,
and how it's
and clients are also getting the benefit of that perspective, I guess, that I've been doing this for as long as it's been around, and I've been doing it actually since before digital was around. So I bring all of that experience, I guess, to bear with every client and sort of what works and what doesn't.
And so what is one of the hurdles, or maybe, I don't want to say hurdles, but maybe just when you had to redirect yourself from working for someone to working for yourself? Can you talk a little bit about what that shift was like? And if you could give any advice to someone who may be listening to this, who's thinking, I am kind of tired of working in corporate America and I would like to have a little more personal and professional time. What would your advice be to that person, Tom?
Yeah, in my case, actually, for a lot of people who've been in the corporate world for a while, downsizings are almost inevitable. I saw a lot of them happen. I was on the receiving end of that a couple of times. And one of the reasons I wanted to go independent was just that if I lose a client now, I lose 10%, 15% of my income, and I can go and replace that. If you lose a job, that's 100% of your income. So I enjoy the I guess relative stability from that standpoint, in that my income isn't going to go to zero. I was bringing on new clients, and as I said, over time, some of them do go to Quaker and go on. So that's fine. My biggest I guess point of nervousness at first was I didn't see myself as a salesperson, and what I had to learn to do was really not to think about it that way, not to think about selling, but to think about meeting someone like you, getting to know you, talking about your business and kind of what you've got going on and what your challenges are. And I do go out to a lot of events, back to a lot of people. I would say, because my focus is pretty narrow, 19 out of 20 people I meet it's not going to be a sales conversation.
Yeah.
But I still want to help them in some way. Maybe I can make an introduction. Maybe I can pass along some some wisdom or knowledge of some sort, that sort of thing. Introductions are probably the most common because I'll realize, I understand what you need, and it's not what I do, but I know this person who does it, and I can make that connection. And then, of course, on the any 1 out of 20, that is a prospect for me. It's what do you need and how can I help?
And I think that sounds great. I really like to wrap it up. I think that as entrepreneurs, I think we all become connectors. And so I think, Tom, it sounds like you're connecting people not only with search engine optimization, but with other real life human people as well. So thank you for sitting down with us today.
Thank you, Robin.
Hey, it's Will with the Podcast Crew team. Spotlight is a vidcast shot at the Podcast Crew Studios in Minneapolis. We would love for you to be our guest. Email us at the email address on your screen below to get a copy of the upcoming schedule. It's free, it's easy, and it's a great way to try out a podcast or a vidcast with our pro team. We do an in-person, in-studio version if you're in the Twin Cities area, and also an online version if you're somewhere else. We'd love to have you, hear your story, and help you start your podcast journey. Thanks. Get in touch today.